I think as an artist, I don't really worry about other people's criticism on what content it features or subject matter. Because if you're always worried about what other people's opinions are going to be, then I don't think you're fully using your own vision. So, you have to kind of go in making it for you and what you think is beautiful. Because essentially, at the end of the day, I'm making this for myself, hoping other people like it, find it interesting, find it beautiful. But, it's for me, and it's what makes me happy. And so I can't be worried about people's criticism at the end of the day. I don't think modeling's ever conflicted with being an artist, and I've never done modeling full time. I don't think it's in me. I'm a bit of a hermit, and being constantly around people as models are is far too much for me. I think in little bits here and there, doing something fun is always interesting. And you can have such great experiences, but for me, I've always needed that alone time that I get when I do art and that I get when I'm home, and so I've never allowed it to conflict with making things. Modeling, I think there's different types of modeling that can be more creative and more fun. I think more editorial based modeling, you're definitely kind of like creating someone's vision, and then you're finalizing or contributing another artistic level to the outcome. I think there's, more e-commerce where it's throw on, throw off, throw on, throw off clothing, which I've never really done because I'm not, I guess, commercial looking anyway. But yeah, you definitely get to dress up, play different characters, and help somebody create something fun and exciting. So it is art in some sense, or in many senses. It's not generally always the way I create art, but it's somebody else's vision, and you can put your own artistic feel into it, and when you're comfortable, show different moods and emotions and things like that. I have suffered from depression many times in my life. I think it's important to share with people, because it's important to know that you're not alone. And I often like drawing people that have some sort of a mental illness, and I think that's because it helps me work through it. It helps me know that I'm not alone, and it helps me find a way through it, because not all of us are good at like speaking to people, or I tend to go inside the deep dark hole, and it's a way for me to let things out. And until you're like ready, I can still be alone and still be in that scary but don't want to talk about it phase, and move through it by looking at something or someone said, and knowing that there's a way out, and knowing that I'm not alone because they're here with me, whoever I'm drawing, whoever I'm, they may have existed, and they do exist now on my paper, and then I can finish it and I can push it away, and it helps me push my own whatever depression out, or whatever it is that is bringing me down. Our world right now is, it's going through a lot, from the pandemic to the Black Lives Matters. I mean, it's been one after the other. I think that this movement, this outbreak of Black Lives Matter is so important. And, you know, I think it came after something so traumatic that people now suddenly, I think, are ready to make a change and recognize things that maybe they didn't want to see or pushed under the carpet. And, you know, it's such a time for us to all come together. We had to go inside together to save our lives, pretty much. And now we are coming out together to save Black lives, you know, and hopefully we can make a difference in our world that, I mean, we haven't been able to since the beginning, but with, you know, consistency and learning and all the things that we can do together, and recognizing the situation on a day-to-day basis and doing it however you want to do it, I think it's so important. I know that during the last 2 weeks, I created some artwork that I'll show you in a bit, but just to sell, to be donated to these organizations that are fighting, you know, defunding the police and things that matter. And it's a good time to do something good for other people. I know that I've previously in the past used police brutality as a subject matter from, you know, the 50s and 60s, which that was a long time ago. And we're supposed to be in a different world and a, you know, freedom, and it's not different. And that's frustrating and heartbreaking. And, you know, and now we're in a position where we can change things with, you know, with all we have, with all of this internet influx of information always. It's time to, you know, rebel against what hasn't been working and take it to a new level and change it for the best. And, you know, and just make all of these Black lives that we've lost so brutally and unjustly matter, and make sure that it doesn't happen again, because it doesn't. It's disgusting. I think this question is kind of interesting. When I make drawings, I'm not looking at the outcome of selling it or profiting off of somebody's hardship. I'm drawing them because I personally found them beautiful within their hardship, and I respected them for having to go through it. And a lot of the work that I do, I have a really hard time selling and separating with, to be honest. So I'm not making it to be like, buy this thing of somebody suffering. I'm more just putting something that I found so beautiful, because emotions to me are the most beautiful and the most hard. So I never think about profiting off them. And to be honest, if I could not sell them, I wouldn't. I'd probably just keep them as my little friends that helped me out of my hard time while I was doing that. Or, you know, or I want to say I appreciate you, and you'll get through it. So yeah, so money, sadly, is never what I'm looking for when making art. And I think I should probably get some help in that, because it's really not a good business, whatever, this mentality. When I'm researching, I don't specifically look for something hard. I mean, sometimes I just go down rabbit holes of people crying because I think seeing people's emotions in their eyes is beautiful. And then it can go into different little segues, I'd say. So it's not like I'm always looking into a specific thing that happened. It's just life. And so I look at photojournalism, and I go down little rabbit holes of different people's lives because life is hard. And I know that, the internet and Instagram and all these things are just highlighting the best day ever, which is every day, but it's not. And a lot of the times we don't show the things that are behind closed doors. And I want to see them. Not in like a grotesque way, but like, I don't want to, it's, seeing somebody's fun in life and being on a yacht and, having a face filter on is always fun. But at the end of the day, we all have pimples. We're all crying in bed at some point. We're all not happy with probably a percentage of our lives. I mean, we're grateful and, and thank God, but it's just, I think there's just some honesty in looking at things that are hard, because a lot of the time we're not honest when we convey our lives in public, because we don't want to seem like the sad person or the person that struggles, but it's real and it's okay. And I think it's important to share that, because then you can feel not good enough a lot of the time, and that's no fun. We want to have fun. At least I want to say that through this whole, I'd say, new wave of racism and anti-racism, one of the ways that I've been dealing with it, and I think a lot of people are doing it in different ways, I've really taken education into consideration and recognizing my white privilege as a human. And I've been reading a lot of books, how to be an anti-racist. I've read Stamped from the Beginning, different novels, been watching a lot of documentaries, listening to podcasts. I think just anything you do, just in light of keeping it at the forefront, something new every day, look at different artists, donations, obviously. You don't have to prove it to anybody that you're doing it. I think that's hard for a lot of us right now because it's such a mainstream thing right now. Just do it on your own, and everything counts. Just being aware, aware of any time in the past that you weren't, and in the future, opening your eyes to everything around you and speaking up. There's no right way unless you're going forward. It's just keep doing it. I think that the protests back in the day versus the protests here, I think in the initial protest, there was a lot of, looting and things that wanted to be emphasized. And I don't necessarily think that was the importance of it. And I think that they wanted it to seem like it was a lot more violent than they were. I've gone to many protests on my own, and each one I've been to has been very peaceful. Everybody's together. Everybody's, chanting and not celebrating, but they're coming together as one. And, I think definitely in past protests, it's a lot more violent, and I think this is working. And I think together, seeing people march in the community and the unity, it is helping. And I think, you know, sometimes the media likes to stray it in some other way, but that's not what I've experienced. So working all together and creating this change is, you know, in my opinion, is working. I live a very healthy lifestyle, and I think it's very irregular for like most people. You know, you always get somebody that's probably healthier than me. I wake up at 4 in the morning. I'm vegan, gluten-free. I walk at anywhere from 10 to 15 miles a day. I, you know, clean a lot. I make sure everything is spotless in my life. My little bubble. Every once in a while, I go out and have fun. And the loss of control, really, I don't like it. But yeah, I definitely live a very controlled lifestyle, and it's, you know, I think you can see the control in my work as well. But, you know, going out and being social all the time and staying out late, for me, makes me tired. And for me to work, I can't really be tired. Things don't go as fast. I need to live this healthy lifestyle, or at least I've convinced myself, and to make the things that I love. And I love being healthy. I love feeling good, you know, whenever I'm not being as healthy, because I'm human. So we all have our days. We all have our weeks, whatever. I just don't feel as good, and I like feeling good, as we all do. So yeah, so I think that control goes into me being able to draw such tiny, tiny lines. And that, you know, I think the healthier you are, the clearer you can think, and the more ideas come to you, and it's important to me. I don't think that my modeling career is affected by not knowing very many brands. I mean, I know, I guess, high fashion brands, but I can discover a lot of brands through modeling. But it's not, I don't think you get modeling jobs because you knew brands. You got it because they saw a picture of you and they were like, I want you, or like, you fit my brand. But not because I was like, I know you. One last thing I wanted to do was show the work that I created to be donated to organizations going forward with Black Lives Matters. One of them is Grassroots Law, which is helping defund the police. Just they have the legal expertise behind their back, and all of these things that's really gonna, I guess, kind of rewrite how we deal with Black lives in police, in courts, in incarceration, all of these things that so need to be changed because they're not working. So this one I made, it's oil pastel and India ink. I put it on a poster board because I used it in the big protest that many probably saw down the streets of Hollywood and Vine. Close up, no justice, no peace. I can't breathe. So there's this one. This one will go to the grassroots law. So will this one. Angela Davis, classic activist, still around, still working, back in the late 60s, 70s. Stunning face, let's just say. What a muse. This one is watercolor and oil pastel. This one, just kind of black and white hands, almost like braided. I named it Braided Unity because we're all together. We're gonna fight this. We're gonna win for our Black lives. All of them. All of them. They matter. So this last one is this group, the Compton Cowboys, out in Compton. And if you don't know them, look at their Instagram, check out their website, use Google, whatever you like to do. They're a badass group of kids. They're riding horses, you know, it's cowboys. They're like so cool. They're so cool. I want to meet them. I haven't. So I drew them. And this one is going to be donated, the funds, straight to them because they deserve it. Because they're doing something so cool. And if you've never ridden a horse, it is a magical experience. And they're majestic animals. So the fact that they're just, you know, out in Compton riding horses, it's cool. So this is something I'm doing and I continue to do. I would like to make more, and 100% of the proceeds will go to different organizations that I find. It's my way of using what I do and helping this, and giving, you know, my all. So educating, donating, reading, watching, and making art.